and welcome to the Cyber Minds podcast, a podcast where we get to meet and explore the minds of thought leaders in the cybersecurity and technology world. My name is Mark Williams and I am the founder of Quigley Cyber. At Quigley Cyber, we work with clients to provide the best cybersecurity resources and services to help you build the best teams and solutions. And as we say at Quigley Cyber, it's always about the people. So because the strength of your cybersecurity capability is always about the people, in this podcast, we get to meet some of those people that make this industry so great. Our guest today is Maryam Shoraka. Maryam is Head of Cybersecurity Operations at a government agency and a seasoned security executive with extensive experience building world-class 24/7 security operations centres. She specialises in drafting high-value cyber resilience strategies and leading organisations to swift recovery from high-impact cyber breaches. A staunch diversity advocate, Maryam is actively engaged in initiatives to accelerate women into cybersecurity and leadership positions, and she has been nominated for several industry awards for her exemplary leadership. Maryam, thanks very much for joining us on the Cyber Minds podcast. I'm really looking forward to delving into your mind today.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, I should add, I mentioned their industry awards. Now, I believe you're very active on LinkedIn with frequent posts on topics such as just some recent ones I looked up, the hidden cyber risk in mergers and acquisitions, which I'm actually really interested in. I was at CyberCon 2 years ago, and I saw a really interesting talk then from a lawyer who's since gone on. I don't know if you know Annie, but she's gone on and really specializing in cybersecurity as it relates to law. So I'm really interested in that topic. Another article you posted was the silent data heist, exfiltration without networks, and another, the cyber insurance gamble, a costly lesson. Do you enjoy writing?
I do. I really like to write my experiences and topics that come to my attention, which is interesting because most of the time is with the engagement that I get on LinkedIn, I notice that, it's not only interesting topic to myself, it's interesting for others as well. I got few actually comments on M&A, as you mentioned, which is interesting because I've been advising or as a consultant for a couple of private sectors when they were merging. And I felt the same thing that happened. They discuss, agree on all the things that they need except the cybersecurity posture and how they are going to inherit things. So yes, I really love writing and sharing my experience as well.
Yeah. I think it's such a trap, isn't it? People don't, when they do the due diligence, that many don't think about cybersecurity. They're all about the dollars and cents. But if you don't do the due diligence as it relates to cybersecurity, you could be taking on a massive liability that could undermine the value of your entire purchase or the value that you foresaw in the merger activity.
Totally agree with that. It happens a lot, unfortunately, but some organizations are good in that. Some organizations, unfortunately, no.
Yep, absolutely. Now, in one of your posts, you said, and I'm quoting here, cybersecurity is more than just a profession for me. It's a commitment to safeguarding critical systems, data, and people. And I'm just wondering, when did that feeling occur for you? Was it like a switch being flicked or was it gradual?
Well, I can say that it's been gradual because couple of activities that I do in out of my my work time. It's my leisure time, I should say, is to go to the community and do something meaningful there. And one of them was the flood that we had recently in up the coast, and we noticed that I was part of the recovery team members there, and I figured out massively the people who were concerned about what is going to happen and to our data, because there were so many areas that has been impacted. And when I was talking to them and gathering their concern, try to help them, I understand that it's what I was doing. It was not just my day-to-day job. It was something to do to the community. And I felt that my experience or expertise was more helpful to in that occasion than the preventing cyber incident, because people suffer already from flood, and it was the minimum thing that you want them to be worried about their data or what may happen to their physical documents or things like that. So it was at that moment that I noticed that, well, it's more than a profession for me, and I would like to do more. I would like to go to upskilling seniors and educating them on cyber safety and digital security for them. And since then, it's been absolute pleasure, I should say.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, I guess when you're dealing one-to-one with the public rather than just, names and numbers on a screen, it really hits home how impactful the work that you do can be, and how devastating uh, a sort of a breach or a release of information can be for those people that are susceptible, which is actually all of us, because our data's sprayed out there everywhere, isn't it? So
Indeed.
we should all be concerned. Now, a little bit similar, I guess, to the previous topic. How would you describe what you do to a 90-year-old person who doesn't really understand computing, which is probably most 90-year-old people?
Well, actually, that's very interesting question, Mark, because I faced this similar question or similar I should say concern about people that they ask me what I do. I would say that to a 90-year-old or to my grandma, that imagine that you go to library, and library is full of books, and you do not want to go there and find a book that has written content in it, instead of like somebody randomly say and write something in it, or tear a page from a book, or you do not want to go and figure it out that the book that you're after is missed or is not there or is lost. So if I put those books as computers, I'm the person who protect those books from being stolen or from being written on or something like that. And that library is basically the internet that combines all the computers. So I do whatever is needed to ensure that that library is always available to you. You can go there and pick up your books and get your information that you need. And those books are clean, available, and the content of them are not manipulated or do anything. So I would explain it in that way, because I think elderlies understand library and borrowing books better than any other digital concept.
Very good. I like it. I like the way you express that. Yeah. I might use that if that's all right.
Yeah, definitely. Go for it, please.
Next time I'm explaining what we do to a 90-year-old, or even to my parents who aren't even that old. All right. Now, conversely, and it may be the same, maybe different. How would you describe what you do to a 9-year-old person? Because obviously, 9-year-olds these days they're pretty tech savvy, but they're not business savvy.
Yes. Well, that's a tricky part, because 9 years old at this stage, they know much more than many of us. Sometimes actually I learned a couple of things from my friend's daughter. She is, I think eight years old, like 8 years and a half, and she is amazing. What I would do basically, I noticed that once she bypassed her mom's Apple ID and to try to purchase a game for herself, because her mom didn't let her to do that. Once she did it, my friend asked me to talk to her and just basically explain that what would be the coincidence if she does that to other people and explain that it's not wise. So I was sitting down with her, and as you can imagine, she was pretty smart and intelligent to do that, guessing her mom's password. I sat down with her and explained that what you did actually is what I try to not let happen. And when you want to get the game that you're after, it's not that I'm going to block it, but other people, bad people that try to get your information and do something with them, change them, or create the avatar to your game and pretend that they are yourself. I prevent that, and that's my job to do, to protect you from digital world. I explain it to her in that perspective, but generally speaking, I try to find something that every 9-year-old has in common. That is their iPad usually, that they try to use it to either do their homework, do game, or things like that. And I try to reach out to them and explain what I do is basically ensure that they're like progress in the game is not going to change. It stays the same, and people cannot change it or revise it or basically put them to start from the beginning. So I try to do that, and I explain it that way.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that sounds good. Yeah. It's obviously it's such a minefield now with all of these kids that are digital natives, and they were handed a screen in the pram to stop them from crying and things like that, and they learn so quickly, which is exciting to witness, as a parent or even from afar with the developments that are going on in the industry, but also quite horrifying at times as well.
Indeed. Actually, I feel that I didn't know this type of information when I was 9 years old, and now these kids actually like making us to be on our toes to protect them, and it's scary the amount of information that they can access, and sometimes it's not like good or safe for them if they are not within the supervisor of their parents or anything like that. So it's concerning, but at the same time it's rewarding to see that how smart and intelligent they are.
Yep. Yep. Most definitely. Now, carrying on from that, what is your own cybersecurity origin story?
Great question. As you know that I come from Iran, and back in day, I wanted to become cybersecurity specialist, but when I um, at the same time I wanted to come to Australia, so I couldn't pursue cybersecurity because Iran was red flag. Cybersecurity was another red flag on my immigration application. So I thought, okay, I would do application development and upskilling myself in secure coding. It was at the same time great because I could understand how application security could impact the posture of cybersecurity. However, it wasn't great or ideal situation for me because I couldn't highlight any of my skills, even though I was studying using those dial-up internet connection to bypass all the limitation, filtration, or sanction that we had back in Iran to be able to get information or resources. And I moved to Malaysia, pursue some similar application development, but my secure coding skill helped me a lot. So I could sit down with cybersecurity team to discuss different perspectives. Still, I couldn't get a top job or anything under cybersecurity. But as soon as I granted permanent residency to Australia, I thought that yes, I am free now and I can pursue my dream job, dream position, and learn as much as I can. So it was that moment that I could say that I came out of my shield and promote my skills in cybersecurity, being able to secure a couple of jobs as secure application code developer, at the same time moving to local government to be a secure advisory or consultancy. It was it's my story and it's my journey. So if you see my LinkedIn, it doesn't show that I've been in cybersecurity for 20 years, but actually I've been in cybersecurity for 20 years, but I couldn't highlight it.
Yeah, makes sense. And you said that cybersecurity was your dream. What created that dream? What was the genesis of that?
Um, all the sanctions and filtration that we had back in Iran, and we couldn't get like license antivirus or license operating system. So every time that I connected to internet, by somehow my computer got compromised and I had to rebuild the computer, and it was frustrating. That's why I wanted to protect people who had similar situation, at the same time myself. So it was the first thing, that how many times I need to rebuild my computer because of like being safe. At the same time, I knew that as soon as I connected to internet, something would happen, because I had outdated firewall, outdated antivirus, so I couldn't rely on this protection. And I had to do it over and over again to rebuild the computer. So that's why the first time that I thought that I really want to get into this industry to understand how these things happen.
Yeah, right. That is really interesting. It it seems to me, I don't know if it's just my own exposure, but it seems to me that there's a lot of Iranians in Australia in cybersecurity. Have you witnessed that or?
Yes, because they're like similar to many other countries, but Iranian people are very intelligent. And because we had to do things like multitask every time to be able to deliver our responsibilities when we were working back in Iran, we had to have a couple of hats. And I believe that most of us, we couldn't actually highlight the cybersecurity eagerness or passion back in Iran. And now, because we are in free environment, we can pursue that. We do not feel restrictions to do that here in Australia, at least.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Well, Iran's loss is Australia's gain, so lucky for us.
Thank you very much.
Now, I highlighted earlier your advocacy of women in cyber and leadership positions, which is something that I'm also very passionate about. Why do you feel strongly about this?
Coming from male dominant country, I should say, and knowing many of women in this industry coming from similar backgrounds, not necessarily from Iran, but similar experience. I thought that, and also working in cybersecurity, not nowadays is much, much better compared to 10 years ago that I came to Australia. I feel that people need to understand that it's not about women to go to get the higher position. It's about that we will be a better team when we come with diversity and inclusion. We can deliver more because of different perspective in different areas that cybersecurity needs to have the coverage. And also women thinks in from different perspective. At the same time, other group of people may think from different perspective. These two, when comes together, it gives like a bigger picture of the cybersecurity and what we need to cover. So I feel that finding my voice in this industry has been challenging, and I do not want others to um, let their passion faded because of these challenges. And I'm there to support them in any ways that I can, if I can, like talk to them, endorse them, or let them understand the challenges that they may face if they decide to go to leadership positions, to be able to give them the clear picture of what cybersecurity environment means. And if they want to be part of it, then fantastic. It's a win for everybody in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we might have talked about this previously. There's a really good book out there called Rebel Ideas by Matthew Syed. And in that, he talks about the incredible value that you get from having diverse teams when you're trying to solve a problem, because otherwise you just end up with this myopic approach rather than looking at the problem from a whole bunch of different angles. And that's really massive value in diversity there and diverse teams. So perhaps President Trump should read that book, although I don't think he reads. And at this point, we should also probably give a little plug to AWSN, the Australian Women in Security Network.
Absolutely.
We're both mentors in that program, so they do a fantastic job.
They do, and they are amazing in what they do.
Yep, brilliant. Now, a couple of not so much technical questions, but questions to delve into your mind as it relates to you as a cybersecurity professional. And if I just pose this scenario for you, you're in the middle of a cyber crisis. What's your go-to keep calm strategy? Do you meditate? Do you dose up on coffee? Is there controlled panic? What happens for you?
I go for a walk. Even 5 minutes round the block, I go for a walk without having my phone or without having anything that distracts me. Even though, like, I inform everybody within my team that I take 10 minutes break to go around the block to have a walk, fresh air. Um, but I don't carry my phone with myself. That's one thing that I do, and I encourage my team to take break as much as they need during the cyber crisis, to be able to stay calm, concentrate, and focus on the incident that we need to contain and resolve. That's my go-to. And if I cannot go for a walk, if it's rain or something, I listen to music, and just try to relax. Sometimes it's like calm music, sometimes based on the anxiety that I have or stress that I have, I listen to more like a music that I can just dance a little bit and relax a little bit and get back to work.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that reminds me of one of my first jobs. I worked in quite a high stress environment, and there was a woman there who most sort of mid-afternoons, she'd just go for a walk. She's like, no, checking out for 10 minutes. This is me. I'll be back. And that's how she managed it, and it worked really well for her. So that sticks with me. I do like a walk. I've actually started proposing walking meetings to people. I think that's very beneficial for everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Really good, really good. Now, what's the most bizarre or hilarious misconception someone has had about your job?
Well, I think it's not only me, but it's me. Like they think that I sit down at my computer in the dark room, having hoodie, and just do things that you can see on majority of the movies. And most of the time, I've been asked that, can you hack to my bank account just to increase that number and dollar value? And I was like, that's not what I do, and I try to prevent that. But these are the things that happens to me, and people ask me, and actually it initiate the conversation about what cybersecurity is and what it does and what I do, which always interesting topic to discuss.
Yeah. Now, for the record, do you own a hoodie?
I do own a hoodie. Yes, we have hoodie time with my team as well. Like we come to meetings with hoodies, and like sometimes we try to like create the movie scenario when we come to on like a call, virtual call, to just bring more joy to the team and boost the energy level and also excitement for the day.
Excellent. Sounds good. Sounds very good. I'd like to be a part of your team, I think.
More than welcome. Please join.
Now, security versus speed, the never-ending battle. Is there a secret recipe for making them work together, or how do you find the balance?
Well, sometimes it's challenging, especially for myself when I joined the state government agency. It was too much at the same time too quick. What I felt is that do not let to be overwhelmed with the amount of information and things that is happening around the world. At the same time, I try to block my calendar to give myself focus time to concentrate on one topic, to reduce the quickness of everything that is happening in cybersecurity. I think it's very, very important to be able to balance these two, to lead the team, also understand the bigger picture that is happening, or to be able to analyze a threat actor behavior. This is what I figured out that it helped me day to day to just give myself a little pause time, and take a moment, take a breath to just balance the speed that I need to run with the things that is happening in the real world.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Now, as a leader in cybersecurity, what do you feel is a must-have superpower for any cybersecurity leader?
Um, well, based on what I experience, I think leaders who can see the big picture, who can see things from different angle, to be able to predict the size of incident or the size of the impact. I know that we always have risk assessment in place, but sometimes during an incident, we do not have access to those resources to do the risk assessment for us. So it's very important for a leader to be able to understand that the triggers that may go up, or the chain that may come together and become a cyber crisis, or no, it cannot be, like it's a small incident and it's not going to be a big one. I think that's very, very necessary for cybersecurity leaders to have, to be able to create a bigger picture immediately as soon as it needs to be able to make a decision.
Right. Okay. So you obviously rely on feedback from your team to do that, but I assume, based on what you've said, you lean heavily on your own technical background to digest and make those decisions.
Absolutely, because it's important. Not only if your team feels that you are heavily rely on them, it's too much pressure on them during the cyber incident. And I understand that, yes, leaders need to rely on their team and be able to get what they need to make an informed decision. But sometimes the pressure is too much on investigators, and they may not want to be responsible or accountable for that decision. They just want to give you enough information for you to make that necessary decision. Then, when I gather all this information from my team, I give myself usually 10 to 15 minutes to digest them, and also do something like based on my experience and understand the ins and out of it, and then make a call that, okay, this is going to be critical incident or high incident, and lead it from there and reduce the burden from my team to be accountable for calling something like crisis, which may not be a crisis.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yep. Makes sense to me. Um, Now, obviously, your team, you've got your own team currently. I know you also do mentoring beyond that, as we mentioned earlier, through AWSN and maybe through some other channels as well. What's your approach to mentoring or developing the next generation of cybersecurity leader?
Well, first, as a mentor, I need to listen to mentees to understand where they want to go, what they want to achieve, and why they want to achieve something. Then, based on my experience, I can guide them. I noticed that majority of the mentees in cybersecurity, especially, they are confused because of the cybersecurity extensions, like it's GRC, incident response. It's different areas, red team, blue team. What they want to be is very difficult for them to make a decision. So I believe that as a mentor, my role is to give them clear understanding what each category does, and how is their skill set is related to different areas, to be able to let them upskill or find another interest maybe sometimes. Because when I explain, for instance, cyber threat intelligence to some of my mentees, they come, oh, wow, we didn't know about these things. We knew only about GRC or knew about penetration testing. But it's not cybersecurity. It's not about these only. It's about red teaming, purple teaming, and strategy leadership. If they want to become a leader, they need to have technical skill at the same time, people management skill. My approach is always listen first. Like first 2-3 session, I just sit down with them, listen to their like what they need to do, what they want to do, and then based on that, I personalize and create a plan. And if they like to proceed, we will proceed. If they not, I take their feedback and then we sit down together, revise the plan, and we go from there.
Yep, yep. Well, I'm pretty sure that you are a fantastic mentor. You've got quite a few, don't you? There's quite a few people that you're mentoring.
I do, yes. Couple from AWSN and a couple from great friends of mine in the community that they refer to me. For me, it's learning at the same time, Mark. It's not only that I provide experience to them, I learn from them, which is what I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same. And I know I asked you to speak to one of my mentees about something that was specifically relevant to her, and you had some knowledge there. So that's much appreciated.
Thank you. Thanks for your kind words.
Ah, too easy. Now, if you could magically make every end user in an environment that you oversee follow one security rule without question, what would it be?
Multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
I really believe that even though it's not 100% blocking everything, but it's additional security layer that we do need for end users. Doesn't matter whether it's like it's a code, SMS, or things like that. Just another security layer to protect their credentials.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? You probably like me, we get so many people approach us and say, oh, what should I do about, security? And, they might be working for a small to mid-sized organization, potentially even a large organization, and they're not even doing the basics. And it's just like, just start with the basics, get that right, and then build from there.
Well, I was surprised today that I read the news on IT News that Service NSW is going to roll out multi-factor authentication by 2026. And I was thinking, like, seriously, this Service NSW is one of the leading in the industry with all the digital things. And now they are like rolling out multi-factor authentication. This shouldn't be before, like have happened before.
Yeah, I saw that headline as well, and I was pretty shocked. I guess, so I suppose that's for every application within their environment, right? So they could have 500 applications, and some of them would be so legacy that to get MFA working would be a real challenge. So that's what I assume. I don't know what your take on that would be.
Yeah, I prefer to assume it that way as well, instead of just saying that they haven't done it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we'll leave that one. We'll be diplomatic. What's the? I've had some really good ones. What's the worst piece of cybersecurity advice you've ever heard?
Well, this puts me to think. Well, from one of the incident that I had a couple of years ago, I would say that instead of fixing an incident, like remediate an incident, they just agreed to go to manual process of paperwork. To me, it wasn't cyber as such, but to it was a red flag to me that if we got ransomware on our server, we just turn it off and we go with paperwork. And I was like, how do you manage the pile of all the papers to ensure that nobody access to this classified information that you're dealing with or sensitive information that you're dealing with? You couldn't protect the digital version of it, which was easier. Instead of making like copies and copies, you had one server and got compromised with ransomware, and now you just decide to turn it off. To me, that was shocking, that how a business would do it, to put everything, not only cybersecurity, to put efficiency, performance, and everything to go back to old days and just dealing with scanners, send something through scan and paperwork and print it. And they didn't even think about sensitive information that they transfer via this process. And it was surprising to me.
Wonders never cease.
Yes.
Now, fast forward 5 years, do you think the role of a cybersecurity leader will change, and what do you think that will look like?
Um, well, I think the change has started already. The change has started already for cybersecurity leaders to become more business strategy leaders, as well, or integrate to business more than before. Because before, cybersecurity was a department of no. So roadblocker and everybody was like, we cannot go through the cybersecurity team because it gets rejected or things like that. And now we are the people who sit down with business, listen to them, get their requirement, and try to advise a solution that works. First, based on their requirement, and second, ensure that the cybersecurity is there. It's not the afterthoughts. So I think the change has already started in this process. Will be more integrated to business and like operation of a business day to day.
Yep. Fantastic insight. Thanks for that. Now, I've got one final question. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's aspiring to become a cybersecurity leader, what would it be?
Um, don't think that technology can do you a favor as such in cybersecurity. Yes, it can deliver some value, but at the end of the day, people is your firewall. People is the team members or your soldiers or troops to protect the environment. At the end of the day, doesn't matter how many technology we put in place, if people are not on board, educated, or agree on using these controls, that cybersecurity control won't work. So learn how to deal with people. Doesn't matter, people as end user, business owners, CIOs, CFOs, people in cybersecurity matters. Relationship matters. So we need to first understand that to be able to be successful in cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. I couldn't have scripted that better, actually, because at Quigley Cyber, we say it's always about the people.
It
That's
is.
what you just said.
Yes, indeed. It is about the people.
Brilliant. All right, Marianne, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to have you as one of our inaugural guests on the Cyber Minds podcast. Thank you so much. And I look forward to continuing to follow you on LinkedIn to see where your career takes you, and also read about what's on your mind throughout that journey.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate your time too, and a great job that you're doing with this awareness and podcast. Appreciate that. Thank you. Bye.
Uh-huh.